Chag Urim Sameach to everyone. It is a pleasure being able to speak to you. Well, I guess I'm speaking to you. I hope everyone's having an amazing Chanukah. I want to start off with a story that I've told many of you, but it fits in nicely with the theme of what I want to talk about this evening. There was a student in the West Point Military Academy, and he was taking a course in military strategies, and the general, someone not Jewish, was giving the course and was speaking a lot about wars, and specifically Middle East wars and specifically Israeli wars. At the end of the semester, the student went up to the general and said, I noticed you mentioned every war, but you didn't mention about 1967 when Israel captured the Kotel and in 6 days really won the whole war. And the general looked at him and says, I teach war strategies, I don't teach miracles. No one understands that war. We do understand the war. We understand that the war was a miracle. But sometimes you forget because human beings are involved and it wasn't splitting of seas or mun falling or 10 plagues, and realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was behind this war as he is every single war. And without HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we certainly would not be able to be flourishing the way we are. I have a friend who told me that he was talking to someone. He was in America for a few weeks, and as he was coming back, it was during the summer that he was coming back, and he said to this guy who was dealing with, said to him, why are you going back to Israel? It's so dangerous there. There's a war going on. So first of all, I have my wife and 9 kids. That's the first reason. Second of all, it's much safer in Israel than anywhere else in the world. And the guy who had a beard and yarmulke and tzitzis and everything, was looking at him and said, okay, but let's take God out of the picture for a second, and then it's not really safer there. And my friend looked at him and said, just take off your yarmulke, tzitzit, and shave off your beard because you have nothing to do with Judaism. Anyone that could take God out of the picture of Israel doesn't get it. God is the picture of Israel. God is what is helping us stay alive and survive. I don't know if any of you ever noticed it, but in the Al Nisim, there's zero mention of the war, of the miracle of the oil. Nothing. It doesn't mention it. It just mentions they lit the oil after, and it burned for 8 days. No mention of any... they lit the oil and that we set up Chanukah for 8 days. No mention of the miracle of the oil. The Gemara mentions it. What the Gemara took place, it writes much later on. And while there were many different theories that we could discuss, I just want to talk about one theme. And that is that when the miracle first happened of the war, everyone understood it was an incredible miracle. And people were giving praise to Hashem and thanking Hashem for this incredible miracle. But unfortunately, there are always those that take a look at a war and say, oh, it was the natural cause. The Israeli soldiers were better. And we have it here. We do it here in the modern days. Oh, we have the Iron Dome. We have all the technology. And people forgot that the war was a miracle. And that is, of course, is the main miracle of Chanukah, but people forget that. So Chazal in the Gemara needed to emphasize the miracle of the oil because people were forgetting that the whole story of Chanukah, the war, and everything was indeed a miracle. So the Chazal in the Gemara, the rabbis in the Gemara emphasized about the oil, where Al Nisim was written at the time, was talking about the actual Chanukah story, when everyone there assumed that there was indeed a miracle going on. But later on, people were forgetting. And so once the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, people were forgetting all that happened and all the miracles that happened. And so we reinstituted, or the Chazal refocused everyone on the idea of miracles, and that's why only later on does the idea of miracles of the oil come in. A friend of mine, two historians actually pointed out to me that how do we know people were forgetting that there was a miracle that went on? Because in the time of the second Beis HaMikdash and the Romans, there were groups of Jews, not just Bar Kokhba, many of you are familiar with Bar Kokhba's story, but others were trying to rebel against the Romans and they were failing miserably and they were being slaughtered left and right. And the rabbis said, you know what? All they're doing is thinking, well, in Chanukah it all worked out, not realizing that Chanukah was a miracle. So the rabbis had to remind everyone, no, that was a miracle, and they had to keep focusing on the oil, because this way people said, oh, the oil, the miracle, oh, the war, the miracle. But it was a very difficult time for the Jews because they just assumed they could keep fighting and keep winning when that wasn't the case, unfortunately. And I was thinking this lesson is a very, very important lesson for us. We tend to remember the great miracles. We remember Kriyas Yamsuf, of course, and we don't remember it because we were there. We remember it because of the Chumash tells us, and we remember the Makos, and we remember other great miracles. And we forget that Hashem does daily miracles for us because we're so focused on the open miracles. And when we say the Bechas HaShachar every single morning, I think about my wife. My wife's an OT, and she deals with a lot of people who can't say Sokef Kufufim and who can't use their hands, who can't use their arms, their legs, that they're in wheelchairs. We have to remember that every morning that we open our eyes, every morning that we stand up, every morning that we take one step, that's an incredible miracle that Hashem is doing for us. A friend of mine told me an amazing idea. The Gemara says that if someone says Halal Hagadol every day, he's considered a blasphemer. That is a strong word for someone who says Halal Hagadol. It doesn't seem to be such a bad thing. So I always assume it's because this way he's belittling the great miracles. If you say it every single day, you belittle all the great miracles that Halal Hagadol is referring to. A friend of mine told me a different idea why Shatar was really tremendous. And he said as follows: the word blasphemer has got to be more than just something Halal Gadol every day because he's belittling Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. It's got to be more than that. He said because when you say Halal Gadol every day, you're denying a major part of Hashem, and that is, you're denying that Hashem is involved in the smaller, hidden, everyday events. Halal Gadol implies that Hashem does all these incredible miracles, which He does. But what about the daily miracles that Hashem does? What about the non-open miracles, the hidden miracles? And if you say Halal Gadol, you are denying Hashem does for us every single day. Not just open miracles, but hidden miracles every single day. And that is blasphemy. That is denying Hashem. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz asks, how is it possible that Yosef became second in command of all of Egypt? He interpreted a few dreams, and voila, he became second in command. It seems a little strange. From slave Jew boy to second in command. Rav Chaim Shmulevitz said because when Yosef interpreted the dreams to Paro, he kept mentioning God's name. God has done this for me. God gives me this knowledge. God has given me the understanding. And Paro, whether he knew who this God was or not, didn't care. He said, wow, this is someone that gives credit where credit is due. He doesn't want the credit for himself. He doesn't want the power for himself. I want to make him second in command because I know he won't usurp my power. He'll give me credit when I do something, and he won't take credit for things he doesn't deserve. That's what Yosef was teaching when he kept saying, it's God's credit, it's God's credit, it's God's credit. And Paro was so impressed that he made him second in command. Well, isn't this really the same thing that we've been talking about? When we wake up in the morning, when we're able to talk and walk and see and hear, when we say this Bechas HaShachar, do we really give God the credit for everything? Do we really give God the credit for our success? Whether if we're earning a living, or if we're earning a living, if we're doing well in school, if we're healthy, if we have a nice family, do we really remember to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu the credit for everything? Yosef is teaching us that that's what we need to do. So if we could just wrap up the themes that we've been talking about, the war was a hidden miracle. And the theme of Chanukah is indeed, the great miracle of Chanukah is indeed the war. But we started to forget that. We started to think that it was just natural. So along comes the emphasis on the oil to make us realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does these things in miraculous ways, whether it's open or whether it's hidden. It's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We should learn from Yosef to make sure to give HaKadosh Baruch Hu credit because it's really Him that's doing everything for us. I wish you all an incredible Chanukah and a very good Shabbat as well.